The Tommy Campbell Show. Thanks for tuning back in. I'm Tommy Campbell, still bald, still in my basement, and today I'll be having a laugh getting into a few wild things, including MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell getting detained in Canada and sounding off on a border guard. But first, I'm just trying to figure out how this guy is 6'3", 224, nearly the same as Tom Brady and just shy of DK Metcalf, regarded as having one of the best bodies in the NFL. Sack of mashed potatoes, DK Metcalf, same measurements. Come on, MAGA. We know you're not too swift, but Donald can't be honest about the things you can see, so think of everything he's doing that you can't. It's like the restaurant with the sticky floor and the inch of dust on the ceiling fans. You're looking at it going, okay, if that turns on, we're gonna get snowed on in here. That's what they're fine with you seeing. Imagine what's going on behind the kitchen doors. Now, speaking of football, maybe. Oh, fantastic. Oh, yeah, just stick that in there. Like one of my futons. Now, MAGA are freaking out saying, he didn't break it, Jay didn't break it, it's in two pieces, okay? He still dropped it. He dropped the base because he's a clown with butterfingers. Okay, sorry. Faux leather couch fingers. Slippery things. He picked up the stand and the trophy because he's a moron, and the actual trophy was saved because of everyone else around him. Also, JD, another day, another visitor in the White House with no tie. Yes, the El Salvador prison death camp guy showed up looking like Drake in Miami Vice, and everyone was fine with that. Yeah, it's not the wardrobe, it's the country. These people hate Zelensky and Ukraine.
Oh my gosh, okay. All right, hello.
Well, hello, Mike.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. Are we live?
We're live. Good to
Okay.
see you.
Good to see you. Hold on, I gotta get ready here.
Oh my gosh. I want to know what has Lindell so startled there. Did he just find out that Trump says he's 6'3", 224? Oh my gosh. Gotta get ready here. Yeah, things you do before you hit record. I'm actually wondering, though, if they did plan something like both wearing pink. I mean, Lindell's sure rocking those boobs today.
Yeah, I'm trying to get, it's been quite a week, everybody. I had surgery again on my vocal cords, and every year I go to Canada, and I wanted to tell this story. I went in for vocal cord surgery, everybody, about my 8th one now, and they believe they got everything. I believe it should be good now going forward.
So this actually explains some of Lindell's absence from the media. He had surgery on his vocal cords for the 8th time, which is no shock because he shouts most of the time. But I'm sure his doctors didn't urge him to fire up his dumpster fire television show and try and visit Canada while he's in recovery, but here we go. Subscribe.
Now, last year, we were detained at the border for about 12 hours that they weren't letting us cross because they're saying, they gave me this packet and they said, you need to go get, you need to be a moral character. That was their word they used. You need to be rehabilitated. And I said, I've got all this stuff. And the first time we went to cross, we know it was someone very much on the left that didn't recognize me. And then we went back into Minnesota. Now this is last year, and got the papers we needed from my past. We got the criminal record for all the DWIs in the 80s. And if any of you have read my book, anything that was in there, it's all been very public. And
Mike Lindell complaining about his moral character and treatment at the border. It's just so rich. I mean, this was last year, so now he's up to being detained twice and being sent back twice. That border agent gave him some documents and instructed him, likely his lawyers, to fill them out and return them to Canada. And this is where it gets wild.
Went into Windsor, told the guy at the gate, we said we need to talk to immigration and get a permanent thing here. So that I said I've got my papers with me that I went to treatment and all these things. And I even had a letter from my counselor. And anyway, we get in there, and this lady, I wish I had the papers. I didn't get them up, Vanessa. I was going to make copies and show people. This lady, because I wanted to put her name out there. This lady had so much hate when she seen it was me. It was unreal. The hate that came out of her was absolutely beyond anything I've seen. We were detained a couple hours. They brought me in an interrogation room. She called me a criminal at least 20 times, trying to get me to get upset. She goes, "You're a criminal. you're a thief, you're an assaulter, she just kept going on and on. And I'm sitting there going, okay,
It's genuinely alarming that he's saying he's going to publicly out this Canadian Border Services officer for doing her job, trying to safeguard Canada's security and prosperity, ensuring the free flow of admissible people and goods. And here's the guy that spent millions trying to overturn the election, and now his buddy's in power, and he wants to take over Canada. Mike Lindell has a criminal record. He doesn't have a jaywalking ticket that was unpaid. I know he's talking about getting a permanent thing here, but that's not what it's called. Tom Selleck's slow cousin was likely pursuing a record suspension or was applying for criminal rehabilitation. His autobiography that includes chapters called Cocaine mentions DUIs on 6 pages. I admitted to misdemeanor theft and DUI. I was sentenced to 5 years. I racked up more driving citations than I could count, including multiple DUIs. Because of repeat DUIs, I lost my driver's license in 1990.
what's going on? Then she goes, I know who you are. I know who you are. And I go, but don't think I'm treating you any different than any other criminal. And I'm going, I'm quite sure you are treating me a little different. and that's about as bad as it got where I said that. And she couldn't get me a rise out of me. I've been in terrible situations like this before. But she said, you were not allowed to come into Canada, and now you're trying to break into Canada. This is what she's telling me. We are going to keep you, detain you, and not let you leave Canada.
So Trump created a fake fentanyl border crisis that upped security that's now making it more difficult for Lindell. It's pretty leopards ate my face.
She says, I can keep you for indefinitely. You're a criminal. You're a criminal. She kept telling me that. And it was disgusting, everybody. It was a full-blown attack. So we went through all that to do that. But I guess what I'm getting at here is, you guys, the attacks that led up, it was a very scary situation when you're sitting there at the mercy of this hateful lady, this border guard, and because she's got it in for that I want to secure our elections, or that I have our great president Donald Trump's back. And
scary situation. I mean, there have been innocent people sent to black hole prisons in foreign countries, and this idiot is complaining about a round of fair questioning. Mike Lindell dangles that cross out, but the guy is no saint. Just searching his own book for arrest comes up with 23 results. Jail, 36 results.
And she goes, sign these. I didn't even know what I was signing. I'm going, and I knew not to even ask what. And I'm going, okay. And she goes, if you want to get out of Canada or to be released, you need to sign me. I don't even know what I signed.
You don't even know how to say Canada. Canada with the T. Nice one, Mike. I'll put that up there with Minnesota. I'm sure you would have been allowed to read what you were signing, but this guy isn't exactly a reader.
But I was forced to sign these, so I'm out of Canada. The moral of the story is, I don't know how the fishing trip's going to go this year when we leave in a couple months to try and go to Canada. But that was on
hopefully
Monday.
You won't get the same lady. I hope you got her name and her information, so that way if you want to turn her in the way you were treated, you can do so.
Well, no, I do have all that, and I was going to put it up. Actually, I was going to put it up publicly here. I am going to do that. It was disgusting. I am going to I deal with, remember, that was in Windsor by Detroit. I don't go through that way. I go through a different board in Minnesota, but.
Turn her in? Oh my gosh. A hairdresser was sent to Venezuela, and these clowns are talking about a guy with actual crimes being encountered with paperwork. I mean, it's wild that he's like, oh, I just use a different border. You know, they have these things called computers, Mike. Like, does he think you could just walk into the USA with these charges from another country on your record? Because you can't. Now, I won't go fully into it, but this Minnesota Reformer article talks of some pretty heavy allegations citing police and court records when it comes to Mike Lindell. The border agent did her job, and she did a great job. I've been around the world as a stand-up comedian. I've been to over 35 countries. I've had some pretty uncomfortable situations, and I have a clean record. When I landed in Doha, I was traveling with Jack Whitehall, a now very well-known comedian, actor, and all-around great guy. We were waiting for our bags when I was suddenly taken to a room. And when you don't speak the language and everything's written in squiggles and you're part Jewish, it can be a bit freaky. They then entered with my bag like, we have the evidence, we got him, and then began to open it up and go through everything bit by bit while I'm asking what's the problem, and they are just talking to each other in Arabic while rifling through everything. Then all of a sudden they lift out a bottle of tequila, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got that at duty free at Heathrow. And then they had another big heated discussion, and they're pointing at me and yelling in Arabic, and I don't know what's going on. And then they hand me this violation, right? And I guess in their mind, they're like, yeah, we got a terrorist, they're keeping the country dry. And I had this big yellow page explaining that I had contraband seized from me. I didn't know if I was going to be locked up. Like, it was pretty freaky. And I just thought I was done for. That's it. I'm done. It's over. But then eventually they opened the door and they sent me on the way with the yellow slip and no tequila. Now, as I stepped out, I saw Jack very nervously waiting. And so I started to limp towards him as if I'd just gotten a good gloving. When I got close to Jack, I said, they want to see you now. Fun fact, during my stand-up set that night in Doha, I pulled that yellow slip out of my pocket, and the crowd knew exactly what it was because they'd been there or they'd had a friend visit that had been there. The rest of the world is finally giving us what we deserve, and that is respect thanks to President Trump. MAGA tears. I thought you said you are comedian. MAGA tears. We are not a fringe. The movement among Albertans to back Pierre and join President Trump as a true strong nation is bigger than your hairless head could begin to comprehend. It's time for no nonsense. Vote. MAGA tears. Sack of mashed potatoes, DK Metcalf, same measurements. Freaking out saying he didn't break it. It's in 2 pieces. Okay, JD still dropped it. Dropped the base because he's a clown with faux leather couch fingers. Did just find out that Trump is claiming he's 6'3", 224. They sent me a picture. Look at this lard ass. They sent me on the way with the yellow slip and no tequila. As I stepped out, I saw Jack nervously waiting. So I started to limp as if I'd gotten a good glove.
The Tommy Campbell Show is the best political comedy show on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe.